think we obviously just had our GM meetings here today. It's certainly a situation where we're actively looking to see if we can make our team a little better and find a forward out there to help our group. But we also are very happy with how our players have come up from Rochester and played so far. So I think the one that's probably the most disappointment is someone like Tage Thompson. I thought he spent a lot of time this summer working on his game. I thought he had a good training camp. We asked him to go down to Rochester, work on certain elements of his game, created a lot of scoring chances, but then worked on his wall play, his battle in front of the net, and then came up and unfortunately had the injury there. So disappointment for him and his development. But it's a situation where we think we have some players coming back this weekend, both at the National Hockey League level and the American Hockey League level, and will hopefully help us out.
Are you in a situation now where it's basically money in, money out?
Yeah, because eventually we want to be cap compliant, and we understand that these players are going to be coming back. They're not year-end injuries, and we don't want to be getting in a situation where we have to make a move. It's how we've set up our team throughout the entire year. We certainly wanted to be in a situation where we're adding the best players possible, but we never wanted to be in a cap situation where we had to make a move.
But in a trade, be eligible, do you think, to play on this road trip?
He's seen our doctors again this evening, and you've seen him out in practice. Mike, I'd say that's we're optimistic that at some time on the road trip that he's going to be able to play, and for all of us that'll be a great moment. I think Zach has worked extremely hard coming back from this injury. I think it'll be a big boost to our team.
What's the concern level for Kyle with the latest concussion, and how serious do the discussions need to get with him at this point?
Well, there's a lot of concern, and it's just simply because it's Kyle. You appreciate, you respect what he brings to our team, the leader that he is within our locker room, the man that he is, and you don't want to see anyone have a concussion. And right now, the focus is just making sure that Kyle is all right and to get him back to normal health. But I think with any one of our players has a concussion, there's certainly a lot of concern.
From a rules standpoint, what came out of the GM's meetings?
Well, I think you're looking at a lot of different things, and a lot of things that maybe people think, such as offsides, that are fairly simple, but there's always loopholes or things that maybe we don't think about that quite often. And things were presented that I think that we'll look at a lot more seriously in March. And then throughout the rest of the meetings, a lot of conversations, a lot of updates across a lot of different departments.
Is there a plan for Pekka? Is he going to move up from Cincinnati soon? Do you want to keep him down there a little bit more?
Well, seeing as he didn't have a training camp or anything, it's important for us right now just for him to play. And obviously he had an outstanding week. And his interaction with Seamus Garlick, our goalie development coach, has been excellent. And for us right now, the biggest thing is a young player, just making an adjustment to pro, is to get him in as many games as possible down there.
As you mentioned, your reaction to people who say this is last year all over again?
Well, I would just say, that's something that we have to prove, that it's not. And I think the vibe that we have in our locker room, the confidence that we have in the locker room, and I think especially at the start of this month, you look at the 4 games we had in a row, I believe, against Washington, Islanders, Tampa Bay. Those are teams that have been top in the league the last couple of years. That's where we want to get to. Unfortunately, we're not there yet. But I like the steps we've gone through. I think, as was mentioned today in the GM meetings, the amount of one-goal games that are out there, the amount of games that go into overtime, that's what you have to do. We have to find more of an opportunity to be more consistent throughout the year, but also find a way to win these one-goal games.
As you mentioned, you have to make a deal. How difficult a spot does that put you in, and how tough is it to do it in the middle of November when teams don't really know who they are yet?
Well, I think it's always difficult, and certainly we're active talking to different teams out there. You look in the salary cap world, other teams are having injuries. You just look within our division, so it is difficult. And then the other element of it is, we're finally getting healthy on defense. But it's imperative for us to keep our depth on defense. And we've utilized it already this year, and we're in game 20. So we know over the course of 82 games, we're going to need it again here.
When you're in a cap crunch, how do you keep a healthy depth of defense and yet still find a way to scratch a guy who's making $4 million when you do have that cap problem?
Sir, can you just elaborate
Yeah,
a little
when
bit?
you have a cap problem, and as you said, there's a lot of defensemen, but at the moment you're scratching guys who are making $4 million towards the cap hit. Could they be moved out for better assets, or is that tough to be in a situation?
Well, it's a situation right now, but then we don't want to be. We have obviously, I think next week we have 5 games and 7 nights, and we want to make sure we understand that we're going to face some injuries on defense here, and we want to make sure we have that capability. But no, those are things that we continue to look at to see if there's a mix with another team that we can maybe add to our group at forward. But We also really like the way we've tried to build up our defense over the last couple of years here, and it's something that if we are going to remove anyone from there, we got to make sure it's helping our team out.
You would have 9 NHL defensemen when Bogosian comes back. Down on the farm, you've got Nelson, you've got Pilot, you've got Morgan. If you were to trade one of your 9 defensemen, don't you feel one of those guys could come in if you would need it in an injury situation?
Well, we had a lot of those defensemen there too at the start of the year, and injuries. We weren't planning on Brandon Montour to be injured at the start of training camp, and I wasn't planning on this many amount of forwards getting injured the last week or two. It happens. So you can always have predictions that the bottom line is we're going to have more injuries on defense, and it's important that we have that depth.
With all these injuries at forward, was there any consideration that Dylan Cousins, number 1, and number 2, was Palmville thought, or is the cap with that?
We'll go, I think, certainly from a free agent standpoint, we've certainly looked at different options from there. Right now, we feel very comfortable still with the players that we have and the players we still have in Rochester that can come up and play for us there. From Dylan's standpoint, we're ecstatic about him as a player and his development, but he is not on the radar from this situation. His goal right now is to help Lethbridge out and to find a way onto the World Junior team.